Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Terrain.
So like I was saying, about 4 hours ago, I started building some new armies for Panzer Leader. These Iraqi counters I made up for the Republican Guard and Iraqi armor divisions, or I should say mechanized divisions, are really, really just the Syrian ones I had already built for Lebanon 1982. They're similar enough. The Iraqi Lions of Babylon, so to speak, the T-72Ms the Iraqis had in 91, Operation Desert Storm, were actually marginally better than the T-72s that we saw with the Syrians over in Peace for Galilee in June 1982. But that, you know what, for a demo game, they're close enough. Definitely close enough. So the T-72 was famously used by the Iraqis over there in Operation Desert Storm, Gulf War I. The caveat there is that only the Republican Guard divisions had access to those. These are these 22 attack factor vehicles that we see here. These are pretty much the best things that you have in the Gulf War on the opposing side. With the vast majority of the Iraqi tanks, however, were still the old T-55s. These are actually in the Army divisions that you see, the Army mechanized divisions, as opposed to the Republican Guard, which are more of a political force, and therefore they get the best equipment. Then of course we have Americans over here with the ABRAMS, the M1A1 ABRAMS. So that one got a little goofed up there in its aspect ratio. That's okay. You guys get the idea. We also have some, just for G, we have some airborne infantry carried on UH-60 BLACKHAWKs, because why not? We have some more armored cavalry guys here in our Bradleys, again also carrying platoons of riflemen. And just for fun, we have AH-64 Apaches. So people might look at this AH-64 Apache counter and, you know, squawk for a minute about the ridiculously low attack factor that it has here. That's only the 20mm chain gun that's on the nose. Is the 6 attack factor. It shoots out to 8. Again, a hex in this game is 150 meters, so 8 hexes is a pretty long distance. It moves to 34, which is basically infinite. Almost infinite, as far as game purposes go. It has a defense of 22. Now, of course, as everyone knows, the Apache's real weapon, especially anti-tank weapon, is the AGM, I can't remember the numbers, I'm just going to say the HELLFIRE anti-tank missile. I think it's the AGM-56, but I might be wrong about that. It's the HELLFIRE anti-tank missile. This thing is absurdly powerful. That's the little asterisk that we see here above the A. So that's, of course, going to be much stronger than its 6AC that we see here. That's going to be a 50 G20. That's the standard for a TOW / HELLFIRE / Milan / whatever generation, Western NATO style anti-tank missile. ATGW, anti-tank guided weapon, is the official term. But no worries there. So, very, very quickly, here is a quick look at our some of our armies for today. So here is the full map. Again, every one of these hexes is 150 meters. Every one of these hexes would be about a Flames of War table, or 3 bolt action tables, to give just some perspective. I should say a 15mm table or a 28mm table, because there are other games besides just those two. Okay, so the Iraqis are pretty much set up here, and the Americans have to try and make an attack. Okay, so the Iraqis set up, no objective hexes. This isn't like I said, a real game. We're just pushing around some counters and blowing some stuff up. Quick look at all of our counters here. Alright, I'm going to lead off with my Abrams, not surprisingly. So again, these are 15 M1A1 Abrams. These are the ones you see on CNN all the time. They have the German-designed 120mm RH-120 main gun. I think the Americans have either built it under license or renamed it the M256 or M356, depending on the generation. So if I zoom in here super fast, again, this counter represents, for those who might not be familiar, represents a platoon of 5 M1A1 Abrams. 54 is the attack factor. Panzer Leader has this kind of a reputation of being a super complicated game. It really isn't. It comes down to 4 numbers and a letter. Okay, 54 is the attack factor. 20 is the range. 32 is the defense, and I'll explain what that star means in a little bit. And 10 is the movement. And again, what we're talking about here is, let me get this on camera a little bit, is an M1A1 Abrams. So I don't even know what scale this is, but it's pretty big. I don't know, 1 to 35 maybe. It weighs a ton. Some of it's actually metal. These wheels actually do turn, these tracks do operate or whatever. This is the kind of tank that you would see in Desert Storm, at least for the Army. The Marines did not have the M1 yet. We were still using M60A3s, sadly. At least they gave us the Blazer armor, the reactive armor panels. But by Gulf War II, even the Marines had these. So I'll put the radio back in. There we go. Again, 120mm smoothbore gun, firing some sort of fin-stabilized discarding sable ammunition. At least that's against tanks. When you're shooting it against infantry, you would fire some sort of a flechette round, HE frag, or weapon like that. And we'll get into how that stuff works at a time, when it comes up in the game. So again, super fast. We're gonna start our movement, and the reason I wanted to go through all that is 10 is my movement. So I can move basically. Here's how complicated Panzer Leader gets. I can move 10 hexes per turn. See how complicated that was? So they move at 10. The only special rule in place here is that when you're on a road, obviously this is a road, as long as you stay on the road, you get to move at double speed. So his 10 would go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I didn't even do that. 5, 6. Watch out for enemy tanks. Because this is the kind of game where you can totally move. I'm sorry, you can totally fire in the other guy's turn. In fact, that's half the point. I'm going to stay undercover just for now. I'm not too worried about him because he only has a 22 in a range of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's in range right now, but he can't see me because I'm in woods. Or I should say a palm grove or something. Full disclosure, this map is not even close to accurate. This was literally a map I had on file, and I just grabbed it out of my file and slapped some counters on it. To my knowledge, battlefields like 73 Easting and Medina Ridge didn't have nearly this much cover on it. This battlefield is way too cluttered to be any kind of a historical representation. But again, we're not really going for historical representation on this game here. Get my little command team in here and their Humvees. Now, what am I going to do with my helicopters? Seriously. I'm not sending in my BLACKHAWKs yet because there are a lot of anti-aircraft defenses for the Iraqis. We have ZU-23-2s. Be careful of these things. They'll make a mess of a helicopter in no short order. Or in very short order, I should say. There's another one. Oh, what's this? Gianna's favorite. Don't start having Arma flashbacks. Arma 3 flashbacks. Gianna, these SAMs. These shoulder-fired SAMs. Man pads, I think they call them. Man portable air defense system. Yeah, they will again make a mess of not so much an Apache, but a BLACKHAWK probably. Apache carries a little bit more, is a little more hardened against that kind of thing. Okay, here's the reason I had to make that approach. Again, Panzer Leader tries to be pretty realistic, but in a not a simplistic way, in an easily managed way. Okay, so he's on elevation level 2. So obviously this is 0. This is the base of the table. Elevation level 1, elevation level 2, elevation level 3. We all play miniature games. We all know like how hills are sometimes built in levels on the tabletop. Picture the same thing, okay? Except this table is the size of about 40, bolt action tables. Anyway, I'm trying to get a bead on this position without opening myself up to too many other positions. So because I'm at low altitude, terrain matters. This Razorback, kind of a crest on this ridge, he's set up in a reverse slope position. You can see units immediately behind a terrain feature. Terrain feature is the line, the colored line between axes. Okay, not the regular black line. It's got some sort of a brown or some other color in there. Okay, so I can see him, he can see me. Line of sight is always a two-way street. However, this guy's on level 1. He can't see past this level 2 obstacle to hit me because I'm at low altitude. If I was at high altitude, we can see each other. He's at 500 feet. He's so high that no terrain really matters. You're basically shooting straight up. But these guys are going low and slow because I'm trying to pick apart the Iraqis a little bit piecemeal here. Because they have a lot of air defense. They have this, they have that, and they have not an OBS window. Stop doing that. They have 3 air defense units just on that one little hilltop. So I'm trying to be, oh, sorry, and a freaking Shilka. Hello, let's not forget about that. That's probably his biggest one. He's got 4. This thing bristles air defense wise. So I'm trying to be a little careful here and not give him too many targets. So I'm at the 7-to-1 table. I have to add 2 to the die roll because I am, he's in an improved position. If those Apaches were ground targets, they would have to add another one to the die roll for being immediately behind a terrain feature. That's called hull down shielding. Anyone who knows about desert tank combat knows what hull down shielding is. I won't get into it now, but because it doesn't apply, I'm air unit, I'm shooting down from above him, so that hull down shielding doesn't apply. What does apply is his improved position. Improved position, for people unfamiliar, is this. Basically, he's in foxholes, he's in sandbags, he's in some sort of a field works that's giving him a defensive bonus. So, that was a lot of talk. For 7-to-1, add 2 to the die roll. And then it's a 2, that becomes a 4, add 2 to the die roll. That is easily enough to destroy a anti-aircraft gun. So first blood's been drawn. None of these other anti-aircraft units can hit me yet because, again, I'm low enough where I'm using their terrain against them. It also means that I can't shoot at them until I move. So that's going to be it for, again, I'm going to keep my BLACKHAWK safe for now. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up the slope. Let's get some reinforcements up here. Tell you what, just so the stream doesn't get boring, I'll say that this Iraqi commander is, again, normally this would be, between a couple of players. We're just playtesting here. T-72s have a movement of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the gully. So they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can't quite make it. All right, he's not going to go then. This guy can take a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's going to take a shot. 12 versus 22. This ZU-23-2 anti-aircraft battery, however, is parked up on a ridge. He sees right over the rest, the forward slope of his ridge and those desert trees on the floor of the desert there, and he's got a clear line of sight, and he is in range. So, as you can see, before I was rolling on the 7-to-1 table, now I'm rolling on the 1-to-2 table for the Iraqis. Welcome to Gulf War I. Nevertheless, the Iraqis can probably disrupt one of those helicopter elements if they roll a 1 or a 2. Is the best shot they've got. Nevertheless, they're going to give it a shot. See what happens. That is a 2. That are 2. So a D is what they call in Panzer Leader disperse, and X is a kill. But they did score a 2. The Iraqis got a lucky shot on those Apaches. And we do have some Apaches that are disrupted at the moment. The term is dispersed in Panzer Leader. It's like a pin in most other games. You can't really pin a helicopter. But that helicopter is having some problems. He's going to have to rally. One of the helicopters has been hit. Maybe one of the engines is smoking with his tail rotors rattling around a little bit. He's got some problems due to Iraqi ground fire. So now we're over to the American turn 2. We see you coming. We could kill some of you now, but we want to kill more of you later. And those Hellfires don't grow on trees. So we're going to go ahead and wait for now. Okay, so first thing that happens, American air phase. This technically isn't the air phase. Direct fire phase. I'm not firing these missiles. None of these guys really have line of sight. We go to American... Okay, to finish up the American attack phase, we're going to try and rally that Apache gunship. A 2, he rallies with no problem whatsoever. Now, do I want to move? Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to do like the cavalry roll that Gianna was talking about earlier. They're going to roll up on these fools, and they're going to go ahead and spot. Once a unit, even if you're undercover, once an enemy unit is adjacent to you, you're considered spotted. We see you hiding there in the woods. You're not invisible. These aren't, T-72 Predators. Once we're next to you, we can see you. The problem is I just got really close to a whole bunch of enemy stuff. Again, low altitude. Okay, other American movement. I'm going to go ahead and get aggressive now before these T-72s get too close. If I just sit here and wait, what could happen is if I let these T-72s and T-55 set up on me, then I'll get caught in a pincer between this force coming out of the northeast and this force coming out of the east. And I don't want to do that, so I'm going to bounce and actually attack in open tank combat before those jaws get too close. 1, because I'm on a road. 2, 3, 4, 5 coming out of a gully. 6, 7, 8. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They still can't see me because of this intervening terrain, and neither of us are bellied up against it, so to speak. Those fools saw all that, so they're going to go ahead and take what's called opportunity fire. We're looking at a grand total of 66 versus 32. That is 2-to-1 odds. That's actually pretty damn awful. Holy crap. Okay, they're gonna probably disperse one platoon of M1s. Oof. A 6. They missed. Okay, so if we look at the 2-to-1 table, we'll see that he could have killed me. He damn sure should have pinned me, but once he rolls a 6 on the 2-to-1 table, you guys see that right there? Those Iraqis missed. So I got away with that one. The problem is the American force here is so small. They're going to wind up over here somewhere. So again, I gave the Iraqis a lot of air defense. There's a Shilka platoon in there. There's this battery guys over here. There's this guy over here. There's another Strela over there. I might lose one BLACKHAWK. But we will see what happens. Let's get my Humvees up there. Keep an eye on things. Alright. Iraqi turn. These guys have already fired. These guys have no line of sight. So those T-55s, 15 of them just thundered over this ridge and barreled down the other side of the ridge, right underneath those Apaches, and ducked into the woods. Those Apaches could have fired if they wanted to. The problem is they're within 2 hexes, so they're too close to fire Hellfires. Hellfires can only have, Hellfires do have a minimum range. I could have fired chain guns at them, but that would be my fire phase, and I'm saving my fire phase for my Hellfires next turn. That's the reason the Iraqi player got away with that. By the way, this is absurd. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to see what happens here. Just for fun, and then probably ramp up the stream. By the way, we're giving the Iraqis a lot of credit as far as how gutsy they are. I am not exactly role-playing the actual performance or aggressiveness of the Republican Guard divisions, which was more or less non-existent in history. One thing that the Iraqis will do is they will take a poke with this anti-aircraft battery, and they'll try and take a shot at, again, their friends over here. Oh, they got it too. He's dispersed again. That guy's actually doing pretty good. He's doing his part. This anti-aircraft unit right here just saved some T-72s. Just saved a few lives, probably. Now comes the direct fire phase. Direct fire phase. These guys have no line of sight. Oh, wait, yes they do. They see these guys. Why? Because these Apaches have them spotted. Also, they fired at me. Either way, I see them. These guys, I see them. These guys, see them. Oh, yeah, these T-72s are in a lot of trouble. Alright, so who wants to see some T-72s blow up? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to go BMP hunting as well. This BMP is making me nervous. That BMP does carry a guided anti-tank missile himself. And I don't want him around next turn to shoot up some of my Bradleys. Actually, that AT-5 Spandrel will make a mess of my Bradleys. So, I gotta take him out. Unfortunately for me, he's only a BMP, but he's in an improved position and he's hull down. He's going to be tougher to kill than it looks. They one platoon of Bradleys. He's going to fire a tow missile against them. That's 50 versus 6. That's going to give me 7-1. That's as high as the table goes. Okay, so tow missile heading up the ridge to hit this guy. It is 50. Again, tow missiles are always 50, G20. They never double for range bonuses. They do have a minimum range, but I'm past that. So it's 50 divided by 6. 6 is the defense factor. That is 7-1. That's as high as the table goes. I have to add 1 to the die roll because he's a Soviet AFV behind, in hold down position, behind that brown line. And I have to add 2 for his improved positions. I'm on the biggest column there is. I'm on 7-1. But I do have some pretty bad penalties to shoot against. So 7-1, add 3 to the die roll. That is a 3. That became a 7. Sorry, 3 plus 3 is a 6. I think a 6 is still a kill. Barely. Yeah, I did kill him, but barely. So there's the 7-1 column. I rolled a 3. I have to add 1 because of his hold down shielding. I have to add 2 more for his positions. It's a total of 3. Therefore, that 3 gets read as a 6. And a 6 on the 7-1 table, as you guys can see right here, oh, I'm sorry, right down there, is an X. It is a kill, but barely. I won't lie to you, I pretty much wasted that tow missile. It's a kind of a waste to use a tow missile against a BMP. You saw how easy it was. I mean, I literally just shot at him and I was on the maximum column. But again, he was in a bad position. Next turn, he would get to shoot his AT-5 Spandrel against any of these guys down here, or even against these Abrams, and maybe get a kill. Some Iraqi weapons are dangerous, especially if they have good position and they use them from good positions, and they use them in large numbers. You got to be careful. So again, in a good historical game, the victory conditions are based on the historical results. You set up the battle as best you can, then you play the battle hands-free, and you see what happens. With both players, trying new tactics and doing the best they can, good die roll, bad die roll. But what you want to do is do better than, or at least not do worse than, your historical counterpart. So if even one of these M1 platoons gets brewed up, that's a platoon of 5. If one unit gets knocked out, I have now done worse than the historical commander. That's game. The Iraqis win. The Iraqis can be tabled, absolutely tabled, if the Americans lose one M1 Abrams platoon. That's it. Game over for the Americans. You've lost. You've lost badly. So you have to, the game's very one-sided. Obviously, one side has all the powerful weapons, all the good tanks, it's a rout. But why you even want to play the Iraqis is, again, you only have to do one or two you have to basically live and maybe kill one American unit. And if you can do that, that's victory. Because that's more than the Iraqis could do historically. So if you beat the Iraqis historically, you, as a player in a game, you won. Long story short, that was the reason I wanted to get rid of that BMP, and I kind of squandered a tome on it. So, M2 Bradley platoon or I should say troop, since it's technically cavalry. Bradley troop in hex 2214 fires off his toe. Troop in the hex down here in 2117 fires off his toe. Again, 3 platoons of M1 Abrams shooting up that slope. No intervening terrain. I see over these trees because he's way up high. Alright, that's going to be 108 plus 108 plus 108. Good grief. Divided by 54. Yeah, I'm still on the 7 to 1 table. I have to add 1 to the, I have to add 1 for his trees. 7 to 1, add 1 to the die roll. This is a lot of firepower coming up that hill. I didn't even fire my 2 Apaches, you'll notice. And then it's a 2 that becomes a 3. Oh, man. Stop me when this starts to look familiar. Alright, that is 3 platoons of burning T-72s there. What are those Apaches going to do now? Those Apaches are going to start throwing Hellfires into these T-55s. So again, we're airborne, plus we're on higher elevation. We see over these trees. We can start. I can't really hit these guys; they're too close. But I can't. Also, they're also in woods, and I'm not adjacent. But I can hit these guys that are out here in the open. So Hellfire. That's 50 plus 50 is 100. I'm going to go ahead and attack 2 of these guys at 4 to 1 odds. Panzer Leader normally plays a lot. Oh, they survived! Hellfires, you failed me. Panzer Leader normally plays a lot faster than this, guys. But again, I'm talking with you guys, I'm chatting, explaining how rules work. I'm playing both sides. I'm explaining the tactics behind all my moves. A game like this, you could normally play in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And that's a 10-turn game. Okay, that was a little disappointing. So an entire air cavalry platoon just dropped down on this ridge behind the Iraqis. Now the Iraqis aren't going to get a poke at them with their guns. I have 2 batteries of ZU-23-2s that do have range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That do have range and do have line of sight. 24, 12 plus, damn it, OBS, I'm doing that. 12 plus 12 versus 16 is the defense on one of those Blackhawks. So it's 1 to 1 odds. 5, they missed again. The Blackhawks managed to do that, and they took some ground fire, but no worries. And that is him spotted, and that is him spotted. Well, he was already spotted, but that's these 2 units spotted, and they've taken their opportunity fire.